Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel, and we have another top 5 for you today. So today we are going to look at the top 5 most fun tanks to play, the top 5 fun tanks to play in Blitz. Now, of course, my top 5 tanks or top 5 fun tanks will be completely different to your top 5 fun tanks. So there may be a tank that I find really fun, but that same tank you might get so frustrated. So let's get to it. One of them is called, of course, the Smasher. Yes, it's a fun tank. It's the Smasher. Of course, it's the fun tank. Now, the Smasher appears in a lot of my videos, and I've recently done a video where it's the top 5 tanks Wargaming should really get rid of. And of course, the Smasher is in that top 5 because it should have never even been released. I'm not going to lie, it should never have been released. And I told Wargaming that at the time. Yes, it can be frustrating, of course. It can always be a frustrating tank. And nowadays, it's not as OP as it once was, but it's still a fun tank to play, especially if you can run double Smashers in a platoon. It is really fun to play. So yeah, the first tank on the list is, of course, the Smasher. Next up, I've added the T22. Now, this one was a very difficult choice because there are quite a few tier 10s that I could add in the list, but I didn't really just want to add tier 10s because I know a lot of people do have fun playing tier 10s, and you know, there's certain tanks like the Grill I was going to add, but then I thought, you know, I do love the Grill, but there are a lot of players that also don't like it and don't really enjoy playing it. But I added the T22. Now, the T22 has changed over the years. Like, when it first was released, it was like one of these completely broken tier 10 tanks. Nowadays, it's not so broken, but it is still a fun medium to play, and mostly because of the troll armor. Yes, the front plate, you can get penned easily with the tank, but it's so troll. It's one of them proper Russian medium tanks that's just, the armor's troll. You can bounce from the side, you can bounce from the rear, and of course, because of the pike nose, you can also bounce from the front. And with the DPM to go with it, I mean, just like that shot there, yes, it wasn't a lot of block damage, but you can get that a lot. And a lot of the time with the T22 is you'll ignore that shot. You did not see that happen. A lot of the time with the T22, you'll bounce a lot of the shots that you're not intending to bounce. Shots that you're trying to bounce doesn't normally bounce, and that's the same with a lot of tanks, you know, like the IS-7 as such. A lot of these tanks, like the Russians, the armor is so troll, and that is the same with the T22. So moving on to the next tank on the list. Now, this time I've gone for a tank that isn't OP. Anyone can get it because it is a tech tree. And I've gone with the Batchat, you know, because I had to add light tanks, because light tanks in general are a lot of fun to play. They really are. You've got, of course, things like the Sheridan, where you can sneak up on someone, do 500 damage, and then run away. But I thought overall, you know, I'm going to add the Batchat, because the Batchat, it's just a lovely tank. It really is. And where you can just, with the Sheridan, run up to someone, do 500 damage, then run away, you could do the exact same with the Batchat, you know, 1200 damage, and then I'm going to run away. So, well, it wasn't completely 1200 damage, but it's got the speed, the mobility, and the auto-loader really does make it shine, because, like I said, you can sneak up on someone, release your shells into him, your magazine, and then run away whilst you are reloading. And if you run up against a tank that is on sort of the 900 damage mark, then you'll be able to easily kill them. So as soon as this guy has taken his attention, yes, I do bounce the first shot, which is my own stupid fault, but then we can get the shot, and then we do get a nice roll, and then you could run away, and then you could run on to your next target. And I just think overall, for a light tank, this is one of the most fun, the most fun light tanks out there, especially when it comes to tier 10. There are good light tanks out there. There are good tanks, but when it comes to just pure fun, I think this is definitely up there in that list. So moving on to the next tank. And we've gone with the Agent. Now, this tank isn't really talked about much now. It's basically the VK2801, but it was the Battle Pass tank. Now, the VK28 in the tech tree was an amazing tank. It was very good as a tier 6 tank. And then Wargaming released Battle Pass, which contained this, which is much better than the VK in almost every single way. Again, it is a light tank. It doesn't have any armor, but just sort of the pure speed, the DPM, it really down the tiers. We're not looking at sort of tier 10. We are looking sort of down the tiers. It's such a fun tank to play. Now, I could have added a few Battle Pass tanks, to be fair. The Cryos is a fun tank to play as well. But I had to go with it again because it's the light tank, and I do prefer light tanks, and I really only prefer light tanks, not because they're insane or very, very good, just for the fun factor that light tanks brings, and that is all to do with either with the short reload, the DPM, and of course the speeds of the tank. When you're running around the map, it's a lot better running around the map going 60 kilometers per hour than it is driving, say, an E100 at 20 kilometers an hour. It is fun, but the game isn't just about speed. I do get that, which is why I added the next tank in the list, because the next tank in the list is nothing, absolutely nothing to do with speed. So let's get to the final tank on this list. Of course, it's the Tog. This has to be in everyone's list. Like, one of the slowest. I know I've just spoken about quick tanks being fun, but this tank is the exception. You know, the Tog. Everyone should own a Tog. It's just amazing. And a lot of this, again, it has nothing to do with the speed, but the DPM is very nice, and the armor is okay now, to be fair. The armor has got a lot better over time, but it's just the hit points. I mean, you've got more hit points in this tank than you do have like most tier 7s and even some tier 8s. So the hit points is just absolutely crazy. And again, if you're running this in a platoon, you've got so many hit points between you, it's like almost impossible to kill you both. And you'll win most of your games as long as you play it correctly and you don't get rushed by 7 tanks. You'll win most of your games as long as you play together. Now, me and this Blasteroid, basically a Tog, we're just running together. We are literally just running together. We do not need any more help. We've got enough hit points between us to deal with the 4 tanks that is over this side of the map. So the Churchill here is the 3rd tank, and then there is a tank at the back as well. So we had enough hit points just between us, and we had enough DPM between us to deal with all these tanks. And yes, it is a slow tank, so a lot of the time, if there is a load of mediums and light tanks, yeah, you know, there are going to be games out there, but where by the time you get to the battle, it's almost over. And I have had it before in a Tog where I've sort of just gone straight. The other team have all gone the other side of the map. So by the time I had a shot, they had like 2 people left in their team. And that is what happens, you know, in slow tanks. And things like the T95 can be exactly the same. But it is still a fun tank to play. And even more fun when you do play it in a platoon. So let me know in the comments below, what are your fun tanks? What is your most fun tank to play in Blitz? Let me know in the comments below. But for now, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm meadsy69, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye-bye.